But
Here we
but
go, world. Did admit
says
to it.
this is the saddest admittance. Hey guys, it's me, Halloween Dan,
I'm scared, Dad.
and welcome to part two of the Middle Aged Men Talking About Halloween podcast, where we're just kind of doing a bit of a roundup of the season, talking about everything that went well, everything that didn't for 2025. 2024, and we will be talking about 2025, I should be saying. So, yeah, join us. They're not going, let's go to that house with that cool window in the
Right.
castle. They're not doing that. And
People must have
and
thought that was cool, though.
they did. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was sort of a few times sort of stood at the window. Oh, this is so sad. This is such a sad thing to admit to. But
Here we
but
go, world. Did admit to
says
it.
this is the saddest admittance. But so in the run up to Halloween, so to create that effect in the window,
Yep.
I had to basically create like a little miniature room at the back of that scene, so that I could fix the light at the distance I wanted it from the window.
Right.
And keep all the electrics waterproof. So I could waterproof it. So it's like a little watertight room where I could
Yep.
keep all the electrics, and that was great. And I was really impressed with myself that I'd thought ahead that much. But what that also served as was a nice little room for me to stand in and listen to people talking about my display. So I'd be stood out there, and Kate'd be like, "Where?" Like there was a day where Kate. I'm in this little room and my phone started ringing and there were people outside looking at my display and they're looking at the display and I'm like, hello? And Kate's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm in my display. I can't speak right now. Bye. And I'm in this little room listening to people go, oh, look at the Frankenstein. I'm like, yes, they've noticed Frankenstein. So sad, so sad. And on Halloween night as well, because it was dark and it was dry. So I'm in this little room, and I did the thing where I was sort of like, I was setting off because some of the animatronics only set off if you like clap or something. So I was like
Yep.
clapping behind the scenes, setting off things and rattling chains and stuff in the dark, like ah. And Katie's like, are you for real? Is this what you're doing? Spending your time stood in like a 2 foot wide room, like rattling things and clapping and stuff. Like, yeah, this is fun. This is what my life's about now. What did you do with your weekend? I stood in a 2 foot room, listening to people talking about my display.
To be fair, I probably would have done the same thing.
It's like, honestly, absolutely crazy. And doing things like every now and again, I'd like put my own shadow hand up against the window and like, sort of move it about. And at one point, I put blood on my hand, smearing it down the window. And
Right.
Katie's just like, is this for real? Is this why we're all off work so you can do this in this little room behind your castle? I was like, exactly, precisely why. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's too
pretty
funny.
sad. But yeah, that day, that people literally looking, they're like, I heard someone say, "Oh wow, they've got a dragon look, and oh the smoke, look at the smoke," because I'm pressing the smoke machine button,
Yeah.
and then Katie's like, "Where are?" Like my phone's ringing. I'm like, "Oh no, this isn't Halloweeny. Silent, silent,
Right.
mute." Oh,
Is that
yeah.
ringing coming from Frankenstein?
Yeah, Frankenstein's phone's going off. It's like, no, that wasn't in Mary Shelley's book. But yeah.
So, so what was the response you got this year overall, you'd say?
Over really good,
Yeah.
really good. And again, I think this ties into that thing of again where I've just said where I think I get over obsessed in that. So I felt I'd almost let the side down a little bit by not buying a new animatronic.
Yeah.
But what you quickly realize it within like 10 minutes of setting stuff up is that a lot of people don't even know that you haven't bought a new animatronic. They're
Yeah, they don't
still blown
remember what you
away
did
by
last
what
year.
they can't remember. So they're still blown away by what you've got. And that's what I mean. So then people were having a conversation about my dragon. And I've had that now for like 5 years. They're like, oh, look at the dragon. I'm like, are you joking? I'm still, they're like, are you actually kidding me? You're talking about this dragon that is squeaking now because it's every time its wings flap, it squeaks a little bit. And I'm like, but that just shows you that people are still just impressed by the sheer magnitude of stuff.
Next year, you're
That,
gonna have a
yeah,
little sign out and be like, "Talk about me, I'm new."
yeah. That's what I mean. It's like last year when I had Lily as a new thing, I was really expecting people to be like, that witch is just phenomenal. And the one conversation I had with someone, they were like, that witch is amazing. I was like, oh yeah, you mean Lily? They were like, yeah, the one with the cauldron. I was like, no, she's like 6 years old. I mean, it's like, I'm like, talk about the other one. But
Right.
it's like, but no, they love them all. They think it's amazing. And you get that whole thing. Where do you store it? Where do you keep it? That's the question everyone asks. I don't know. Great. I'm not even sure myself sometimes. But it was very well received. Everyone thought it was really good. We raised a ton of money for charity, which is great.
Awesome.
I think we're about £500, which for us is really good
That's
because
great.
in past years we've raised maybe about 200.
Yeah.
So we've really done really well this year. Yeah, we were on, I don't know whether you saw this, I was on BBC Radio Stoke. The radio station. It's not even one that's particularly close to us, really. But
Really?
no, they're Stoke's not really near us. Well, it's about, I don't know, an hour away. But they just showed up on the doorstep. I was like, hello, and they interviewed me, but they didn't use my interview, and I knew they wouldn't because it was so terrible. Like I said, Kate was like, why was it so bad? I was like, I don't know, because I do this. I talk to you or I'm talking to a camera. I do videos all the time.
Right.
But it's different when you're based, I know you, you know me, comfortable.
Yeah.
And and when you're filming yourself, it's just you, right?
Right.
The minute I'm in front of someone who I don't know, I just lose the plot. I just go in. And so he stood there and he's like, so tell me about your horn. And I was like, and he put the microphone in my face. And I just was like, I
Uh,
like Halloween. I was like, do I look at the microphone? I kept on looking at the microphone. Then I'm looking at him. Then I'm looking at his camera. I was like, I do it for a charity. It's like, and I was like, Kate was like, what were you doing? I was like, I don't know. They're not going to use that. They're never going to use that in a million years. And they
Next time you
didn't.
have
They
to.
just showed my display.
Next time what you should do is just give them your phone number,
Yep.
go in your little room,
Yep.
and say, "Call me. I'll be in my
That's
little room. Can
well.
you talk about
That's
my hot?"
that's kind of what we did. So they were like on Halloween morning. So on the 31st, they're gonna go on live. They want to interview you. They'll interview you live. I was like,
Okay.
okay. They were like, but obviously it's just a phone call and you're not on camera. It's just a phone call. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I think I can do that. Oh, I can do that. And I got up about an hour earlier than I needed to sit there ready for the phone call.
Right.
And then I was fine. It was fine. It went okay. But yeah, that whole thing. Like people are always like, what happens? What happens in the year where your display is discovered by, I don't know, some news channel somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And they come round to share. I'm like, I won't be there. I'll talk through my letterbox or something like, I like
Right.
Halloween. Just film the stuff. Like, no, I can't. I'm terrible. So I'm actually quite a shy person. So I'm not very good. I don't know. I don't know how I ended up doing YouTube, but
Right.
there you go.
The shy person who does YouTube and makes a spectacle out of his yard every
I
year.
make a spectacle out
But
my
don't
yard
talk to
every
me
year.
about it.
Don't talk to me about it though, please. Please don't talk to me about it. Yeah. So, I mean, how was yours received? I mean, I know yours is a bit different because it's for your party guests and stuff.
Right.
But
Yeah.
was everyone impressed?
Yeah. They were. For them, seeing the pirate ship, they're just like they were blown away by I can't
Amazed.
believe you
Yeah.
did this.
Yeah.
And it's funny you're talking about the detail because
Hmm.
as I'm making it, Alana's like no one's gonna notice that you're putting all this wood grain in and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, you have to because they're
Yeah.
gonna walk right up to it and then they'll
Yeah.
see
That's
it.
right. They'll see
And
that it's not, and it needs to look like wood.
right. And they people did comment. They're like, oh, I thought that
Hmm.
was wood. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's not.
And just quickly, tell me that isn't a buzz when that happens. When
Oh, of
someone
course it
goes,
is.
"Is that not wood? Is that
Right.
foam?" You're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right."
No, it is.
Like when someone does it with my tombstones, they're like, where did you get the tombstones from? Like, oh, I made them. They're out of
Right.
foam. They're foam? I'm like, yeah, they are. That's right.
I know part of me was just like, wait, I know what you're gonna say. Stop. Where's my wife? Where is she?
Yeah.
Come here, come here,
Someone,
come here. All right,
someone
go.
appreciate the wood.
Right. Yeah, so they thought it was cool, and my son was happy with it this year because there were
Good.
a lot more jump scares in it.
Yeah.
It's funny though because I found out that like some of the kids that came to like previous year parties, I'm like, oh, we didn't see you this year. They're like, yeah, my son was a little scared of it last year, so they didn't come. And
Oh,
like,
really?
so I
Oh,
get that, and I'm just thinking like, was it like last year the haunt was in the backyard, you didn't even have to go into it. This year you had to go through some of it just to get to the house, but
amazing.
um,
That's so good, though.
yeah,
Again, a bit of
so
a buzz when you scare people, right? Like a little
right,
bit of one. Yeah. Like
and
there was a day when I had to go to work, and Katie was like, I was like, have we had any people coming past to see the display? And she went, yeah, we've had quite a lot. She said, I've seen a few people donate. She said, a lot of crying children. I said, what do you mean? She went, there's been a lot of children that have been a bit scared. Like they're
you're like,
scared at.
tell me more.
Yeah, I was like, this sounds good. Like, did we catch it on the Ring camera? And she's like, we probably did. They were by the front door. I was like, great. I'm gonna look at that. It's just kids like, get me
Awesome.
away. Yeah, it's great.
You have to do a scare video, a scare
Mm,
reaction.
I know. It's bad as well because I was like, every time there was like a kid screaming or being scared or something, like our camera is obviously on its way out. It's dying a death, I think, because it does
Uh,
this weird. Well, I think when there's too loud of a sound, it like I don't know, it like silences it or something. I'm not quite sure, but you can't get the full reaction out of it. So when I was looking back on all the footage, there was only like 2 bits of footage I could find where you could actually appreciate the fact that someone had gone, "Whoa, God!"
uh,
The rest of it was a bit wimpy. So I was like, we need a new Ring camera just so that we can see people get scared by it."
right.
I don't know.
Uh,
Crazy.
that's always great though, because that's
It's amazing.
in the end people want to be scared. Like maybe not the kids that are crying, but everyone else kind of wants that little like a little adrenaline rush, right?
Yeah, of course. It's that thing. It's the unexpected, isn't it?
Right,
And I do. That's the bit I love is when you'll see them start coming around the house, and obviously they're drawn in now by the giant inflatable tentacles. Like, oh, let's go see
right,
what this is about. And they get round here, and they're overawed, and you see people. I love it when people come back a second time, like they go past it, kind of, set everything off, and then they come past the second time, and they're like picking up on the details that they're like, oh wow, oh
right.
I didn't notice that. Oh look, he's got this thing as well, and that's great. I love that. That's the best feeling. Like
Oh, absolutely.
so sad. And Katie's like, really? I'm like, yeah. Oh, and there was a guy filming. Like, if someone's filming it, I'm like, success,
Right,
success. It was good enough that this random dude is going to put it on Instagram. It's successful.
right. Absolutely. It's
Uh,
funny too, because like when the party starts, like the kids are like they're scared to go
mm,
through, right? Because they don't know what
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
expect. It's like this one girl was like her friends kept going through. She's like, no, no, I'm scared. And I said, look, come here. And I took her up at the top of the deck because I didn't end up covering the top. I just didn't have time to. And so you could kind of see the haunt, and I was like, look, there it is. You can see all the scares. It's not that bad. So then by the end, she was running through it with her friends, and
yeah.
uh, I don't think it was her. I think it was one of her friends that's going in, and she was recording it on her phone. I don't know
Okay.
why 8-year-olds have phones, but some do. And
Yeah.
she's like, it's like we're going into this haunt. She's like, it's a bit prep. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. I
No,
don't
I
think
don't.
it's
What does
good.
that mean? It's a bit prep. No,
Right.
I don't know what these newfangled words. I don't know what these kids say these days.
At
Like
first I was
sounding
like,
like an old man.
I don't, the way she said it, I don't think that's
It's a
good.
bit prep.
But
Yeah,
I
prep.
know like 2 minutes ago you were like scared to go in, so
Yeah. Write in the comments if you know what prep means. I don't know what
right.
does prep mean. It's a bit
I don't
prep.
know.
That doesn't. That sounds. I don't know how that sounds actually. That could be. That could be either. That could be good or
Right.
bad. I don't know.
I
That
don't
means
know.
nothing to me. That means nothing.
No, me
It's
neither.
like when
I'm just like,
It's like when I used to say the word sick. That is so sick around my mum, and my mum would be like, "Don't say that." I'd be like, "No, it means it's good.
right.
It means it's really good." No one uses that now. That's old man language. But
Uh,
yeah, so
uh,
sick.
I'm an old man
I
too, so
still
I
use
still
that.
use it.
That's so sick. That's sick. But no, apparently that's so outdated now. Ella tells me that's so outdated. You don't know one says sick.
Maybe she knows
Oh.
what prep is. You can ask her
Maybe
later.
she does know what prep is. She probably does because she thinks
Right.
she's a teenager anyway. So
I mean, the kid
yeah.
was the same age, right?
Yeah,
Eight,
this is
so
it. 8. They're just crazy. And talking the phone thing. Yeah, she wants a phone. And we're not getting her one. She's not having
no,
one. I'm
no,
not going down that road.
no. So I was like, can I get a phone? Like, yes, when you're 21.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. You could have. Oh, I tell you what, you can have a phone if you have what we used to call a brick phone, just a big, like one of them big 1980s mobile
Right,
phones that does nothing except call people. You can have one
right.
of those, but you're not having a smartphone. You can
Yep.
forget that one.
Yeah, no, I'm not ready for that yet. I didn't get a cell
No,
phone until I was in college, so I mean, it was a
no.
different time back
It
then
was a
for sure.
different time,
But
but yeah, I know I didn't get a mobile phone till I was what? I think I was probably about 18. Yeah, probably
yeah,
about
yeah,
18.
yeah.
And it was really basic and boring, but I thought it was amazing. Like
Right.
I'd be ringing people. I'd be like in some shopping mall somewhere, and I'd ring my mum and I'd be like, I'm on my mobile phone. Yeah. I'm in another place. I'm in another place and I'm not attached to a wire. It's amazing.
Right.
She'd be like,
Well, that's
yeah, okay,
standing
I'm
up.
hanging up now. Bye.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, this isn't amazing.
You can remember
But
in the 80s when you had the car phones and they were like these big
oh
giant
yeah.
things.
I remember watching like Home Alone where he's in the limo with the car phone. I'd be like, now
Right.
that's living large. Look at
Right.
that. He's in a car with a TV calling people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now everybody's just got these sorts of phones where it's just normal.
It's funny. I was the other day I was talking to Sal and I forgot some game design. It's like, oh, it's like those graphics are so old looking. I'm like, no, no, you don't understand. And I like
Yeah.
took out like this is what we played when I was like really young. Like, it's Atari 2600,
Yeah.
and it's like squares are just like
Yeah.
bouncing
Yeah.
around the screen.
We
I'm
got
like,
Finn last Christmas. I thought it'd be really fun. Like it's a Game Boy, but it's not a true Game Boy. It's just one that's
okay,
got all the games already on it.
yep.
And it had classic Mario on it. And he was like, I can't see him. What is this? That's not Mario. It's just like a couple of dots. I was like, no, that's Mario. That's the
Right?
original Mario. Yeah, a
That's
few
yeah,
dots. That's what Mario was.
exactly.
uh, uh,
I
these
remember
kids
too when
today.
I remember when Nintendo came out, and I was like, Dad, look at the graphics. It looks so real
Yeah,
because
so
like you could
sick.
actually see like arms and the legs. It wasn't just like this block moving around.
Like, oh my God, they've got legs now. This is
Right.
amazing.
Now
Honestly.
they look more realistic than real life, but
It's true. It's true. In fact, it's if anything, it's gone the other way where the graphics are so good that you're actually now looking at. I suppose it's a little bit funny enough. This was what I wanted to talk about, where animatronics have gotten so good that now we can pick them apart and go, but that animatronic doesn't have the movement of this animatronic, so it's not as
right,
good. And it's the same with games. Like you look at them now, you're like, it just it's real, but it's not real enough. This is. It's like
right.
I don't know. Like we're just picky people.
Yep. Well, so
Nothing's ever good
technology
enough.
gets better, right?
I
That's
know. I suppose my hope for next year is that we get some actual good animatronics here in the UK. And I think depending on what I do, my haunt next year, I've decided, I think I'm not going to build anything next year. I'm on the
yeah,
road of, I've built enough. I've not got a lot of room to play with unless I start expanding into the backyard. And I'm not ready for that yet, I don't think. So I've built enough. It looks good enough. I will maintain it. I will rebuild it and get it looking good again. Because the castle's I had to cut it in half. I had to like slice it down
oh
and it
really?
got
Yeah,
a bit damaged, but it's fixable. It's all fixable. But apart from that, it is got to be. I think next year I do want to spend some money on some animatronics. I want to go. I might sell a couple. I've not made my mind up yet. There's a couple
yeah,
that like have had their day. I'm a bit bored of
yeah.
like the banjo skeletons can just go to hell. Like I'm so over banjo skeletons. And
Yep.
even like my Wailing Phantom that my friend Cy fixed this year, he's still so temperamental and he's not waterproof. And
Yep.
I don't know. So I think I might sell him and make a bit of room for maybe one or two new things. Because that's what my wife's Kate's always like. She's like, you've got no more room. You'll have to get rid of something, or you'll have to, And every year I'm like, no, no, I can't get rid of them.
Right.
But this year I think I'm going to have to be a bit vicious. If I want something new, I'm going to have a cull. I've got to get rid of a few things, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I do find myself just putting things out completely for the sakes of it, even things that stopped working years ago. Like
Right.
I've got so many little just stupid props that have not worked for years. They died a long time ago, and I still put them out as like background pieces. They're
Right.
doing nothing, but it's almost like a tradition. It's like I've got to put out that little Reaper that I paid like £5 for that stopped working back in 2016. I've got to
Yep.
put him out because it's tradition,
Right.
even though no one notices it and it does nothing. So
Yeah, I think that definitely maybe like either getting rid of some stuff or like picking and choosing like, this year I'm not going to put out this. I'm just going to focus on this aspect of the haunt, right? And then maybe the next year we'll put out some other stuff.
yeah,
Maybe one year you do the witches, one year you don't do witches or something,
yeah,
something like that.
that's it. Because I think again I've fallen a bit into the trap of, and we've talked about this before, where I do it to myself, where I start off with such a clear vision of what I want it to look like and the atmosphere I want to create,
Yep.
and then I just fill it up with every Halloweeny thing I can think of that has, and you're like, it has no theming or thought at all. Like so many times I've looked at that dragon and gone, it makes no sense. What sense is this making? I mean, it
Right.
made a bit of sense with the castle, possibly,
Right.
tangibly, but not really. It's like he makes no sense, not
Yeah.
at all. And like everything else, I can kind of say, yeah, it does. But no, and I just find, and I'm looking at my display, and I'm like, one bit of me is like the kid bit of me is like, this is amazing. Look at this. How cool
Right.
does this look? And the other bit of me is like, but that makes no sense. And I didn't really need to put that out. Like
Right.
I could have just left that in the attic this year. It didn't need to come down.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to be a bit harsh next year, I think, with myself.
Yeah. I think too, like sometimes maybe like instead of putting out every little thing, it's like, well, this is a good place to put like a little detail, nothing that I pick up from a store that just would fit the scene, put that there instead of like this, like you said, broken prop. It doesn't
Yeah, exactly,
doesn't work
100%.
anymore, but it's like
It
I
doesn't
have this
work
like
anymore.
nostalgia thing,
It is
attached to it.
nostalgia. Honestly, I've got so many things. I've got like, I've got like a fake human arm that I bought when I was about 16 for a party I used to throw for my sister. And it hasn't worked for probably 20 years, but I still put it out every single year. And to be fair, it's a fake arm. It goes well. You put it behind a tombstone like it's reaching out. It
Yeah.
works. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it's a fake arm. But still, I've got so many things like that that don't do anything at all.
Yeah.
And I just keep putting them out every year.
Yeah.
They just get a little bit muddier or a bit more blood covered or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I
So,
did more this year that I want to do more of is just work on the better lighting, so like on the haunt up, like up the driveway, I've gotten some of the like the lawn lights, and you run one wire through them and connect it, and so it's one plug that plugs in like 12 lights, and putting those up and lighting the individual tombstones and stuff is like, oh, that it does make a difference. I'd like to
does.
kind of perfect more of that,
Yeah.
instead of just like putting a bunch of stuff out and then when it comes, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, you can't see it because it's too dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of plugging that
Yeah.
animatronic in to move that you can't really see, I should have had the
Yeah.
light on it so that,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I know that. I mean, I don't think I told you about my fiasco with my flame lights. You might have seen a bit of a video. I did mention it in
the
a
video,
video,
yeah,
but
you talked about it. Yeah.
I did talk about it, didn't I? Yeah, where I basically fused our entire house because of these flame lights. Um, And that was not fun. Because again, it's the UK's weather is so, honestly,
Yeah.
I know you said you've had like a bit of rough weather, right? And
Yeah.
it,
This year we were lucky. Last year was awful though.
yeah, I mean, I heard that David told me at Haunt of the Roxbury, he said they had like a full storm, like a big storm go blasting through like on Halloween night itself. So
Oh
that
wow.
kind of put a massive dampener on their haunt.
Did they put a
But
video up of his haunt yet?
I, uh,
I don't think
no,
I've seen one.
He did a video where he talked about he did like his past. He did like a video where he showed all his haunts like progressing through the years,
Oh,
including a
okay.
bit of this year's as well.
All right, I gotta see that one. I haven't seen it yet.
Weather-wise, wasn't bad here. It wasn't terrible. It's just damp and horrible, and it's like I don't know what. I don't know how well you can predict the weather in where you are. Like we're
Not really.
obsessed with the weather here. It's an obsession, and I am
Yeah.
obsessed around Halloween particularly because it changes by the hour. I've got 3 weather apps on my phone, 3, right? And each one of them will tell you something completely different from the other one. Like it's got to be dry for the next 10 hours. Whoop-de-doo. And then the next one will say, except for in an hour when you're going to have a torrential downpour. And you're like, what? How am I supposed to prepare for that? And
Yeah.
that night, I'd come home from work and it was dry and it was clear and there was no wind. And I was like, right, I'm going to put out my witches. I'm going to put on the lights. Everything's going on. This is like the dry run before the week for Halloween.
Yeah.
And it's going to look great. Went and had a shower, came down to an absolute just thunderstorm level rain.
Yeah. Oh,
It was
awful.
like, and Katie was like, there was not a word of this in any weather program, any app, nothing said at any point there was even a chance of rain. And I went out and I'm like, oh my God, quick, 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 take it down, bring it in. And I went to them flame lights and the house just went boom. I was like,
Oh
oh
no.
no, no. And then I didn't dare use them then until Halloween itself. And they were such a big part of the lighting of that castle they were such a big part that made it look so good. And then I was just like, now I don't dare use them, and it doesn't look as good now.
Right.
I'm really annoyed. But that's what you get when you use non-weatherproof lighting in the UK. Yeah, stupid, 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 but so worth it in so many other ways.
I know, right? It's yeah, we were lucky this year. It was actually dry. We had pretty
Mm.
warm weather for the most part.
Mm. Okay,
Um, we had a lot of wind. We did have wind, and so
windy.
that somehow my mast stayed up through really bad windstorms up
Wow.
until the day after Halloween, and then it caved out. So I
Well,
can't complain.
it did its job.
The funny thing was like there were nights where like literally I slept in the living room, and every like couple hours I got up and just looked at it to see like is that gonna stay up because it was so windy. And then the day it fell down, I was at work and didn't even know it was windy. Like I did no
Wow.
idea. I come home and it's laying on the ship. And I'm like, I go upstairs like, oh my
Was it
God, a lot
windy?
of
Was windy with it?
the mast came down. She's like, really? I've been home for the past hour. I didn't see that. It's like it's
Never
down.
even
And
know.
I
It's
don't know. Like panicked and like I said, somehow it didn't destroy anything.
That's
So
really good. That's the
yeah,
best. As long as everything's okay and the house hasn't been destroyed, that's
right.
the main thing. It fell perfectly.
Yeah. But other
Uh,
than wind, I mean, I had one
mm,
night where you like you, where it's like I was looking, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like,
mm,
do I need to bring anything in? I look at it, it says nope, no rain
mm.
for 3 days. Wake up the next day, everything's soaking wet. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the hell happened?
I know what. It's the worst. It's honestly the weather. I've said it many times. I'm one of them people. I don't really care what the weather does. It can do whatever it likes. I don't work outdoors. I work inside. I'm lucky in that respect. So the weather, it can be as terrible as it wants. I really don't care. But that couple of weeks around Halloween, I'm just obsessed.
Yeah,
I'm like, please don't rain. Please
you
be
have to
dry.
be. You put so much time and effort into it, and you spend all the money on these things, and like
This is it. And
one
it's the
bad
killer
storm,
blow. It's the killer blow. It's the thing that you just have no control over whatsoever. And it's just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like, can we not invent something that just like dries up clouds or something? Like, it's just not a thing.
Right. If they did
Ah,
have it, they probably wouldn't use it for Halloween, I'm
I'm
guessing.
guessing not. Yeah, I'm guessing not. No. So it was. I can't complain. It was a pretty good year for the UK. The weather was pretty good. You
Yeah.
can't really ask for more as long as it's dry on Halloween itself. It was actually really. I mean, again, it wasn't great for some of my props, but it was misty and foggy and really
That's cool.
atmospheric and stuff. So the way it looked was great. Like my
Yeah.
house lit with the green and purples and everything, and when the animatronics were working, they looked amazing.
Yeah.
And also because it was slightly chilly too, my smoke machine fog, even though I don't have a fog chiller, it
Stayed
was
low.
just naturally staying low. So it was like
Perfect.
chef kiss, you know. It's like, this is amazing. That's why my Frankenstein didn't work, because he was so like balanced in just such a certain way that just that moisture in the outfit he was wearing, he just couldn't lift himself up off the table.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
I know. That's the one thing I was looking when you put the last video. I was like, oh, we get to see Frankenstein, and
No,
he wasn't moving. I was like, but he
no.
still looked
He
awesome.
worked for the
So,
first couple of days, and then he just got too damp and just
yeah.
couldn't rise above the table anymore. He just kept. He would go. Uh, oh, it was really pathetic. And people were like, there was some kids like out there like, oh my god, he's got Frankenstein out, because it was a dry day.
Yep.
He's got Frankenstein out, and I'd switched him on, and he was just going, oh, oh, and lying back down, and they were like, oh, he's not. Like the most disappointed Frankenstein ever.
Right.
It would have been better. I would have been better just making the hand move or something, to be honest. That would have made more
Wow.
sense. But no, I
You
wanted to
know,
go big.
you gave it a good go, and you
I
had it
gave it a
working.
go. It was
So
working. It did work. It's just it couldn't perform. Couldn't perform when it really mattered.
right.
So
Who
yeah,
hasn't been there, Frank?
exactly. We've all been there. We've all
uh,
been there. Yeah, poor Frankenstein. So
yeah.
next Frankenstein's monster. Correct
Yes.
myself.
Yes, monster, of
Um,
course.
so next year, I am gonna try and get myself a John Doe. That's one of the props I'm looking for. I'm
Nice.
gonna really try and get John Doe, because that would recreate that movement perfectly.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
and
dress them
yeah,
up. You're good to go.
dress him up as Frankenstein, and you're good to go. That's all you need to do, and it would
Yep.
look 10 times better than the Frankenstein I created anyway. So yeah, but yeah,
Nice.
I think that's where I'm at. So
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I'm still kind of torn. I don't know. Like, part of me says, make the pirate ship bigger and try to add on. Another part of me says, like you've never done like a classic like haunted house, like
hmm
and
yeah,
then the other part of me is like, why don't you do something like I talked about doing like the Zelda theme or something else like based on
yes,
that. There's
going
like part of me is
really
like that would be cool, and that would be
very cool.
like all building or modifying props, right? Because
Yeah,
you can't just go buy Zelda animatronics.
that's like you'd have to start now kind of
Right.
deal to
Yep.
for the amount of animatronics you've got and for the space you'd be trying to fill.
Right.
That's like start now. Is my
Yeah.
advice.
And it's probably like that's the kind of thing where it's like however much you can get done is how big that
Mm,
part is, and then you
yeah,
fit the other props out first.
yeah.
I haven't made a decision yet.
Mm,
That's my goal is by January, start of the year is
yeah,
to know like what the plan is, right?
that's the decision time.
So if anyone has suggestions for me or Dan, right,
Yeah,
throw it in the comments and
yeah.
tell us what you
I
think.
mean,
So
as well, would that, if you went to all that effort, would that be the year where you actually took? I know it's different for where you are, but would you actually say, like, advertise yourself? I am a haunt. Come and visit my
right.
haunt. Is that the step we'd go down, or are we
Yeah,
still not there yet?
you probably have to. I just gotta look
Mm-hmm.
into the insurance part of it. That's the one thing that scares me is that you get that
mm,
one jerk that's like, I stepped on a sharp rock and now I
yeah,
can't walk and I'm gonna
yeah.
sue you for $100,000.
I mean, surely though these other big haunts, they must. I mean, do you sign a disclaimer or something? I mean, is that what they
I mean,
do? I don't
the
know.
other local haunts I've been to, you just walk through. They don't,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
sure most people. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean though. It's a big
right?
risk to take, and there
Yeah,
would be that one jerk who would
yeah.
ruin it
Try
for
to like
everyone
take it,
else.
ruin your life, you know.
There would be that
Um,
one person. Yeah.
so I, but yeah, if I was gonna do something like that, it's
Mm,
kind of what you have to do, right?
I think
Because
so.
otherwise, what's the point
What's
of
the
doing
yeah?
it?
Yeah, I think that's your
So,
next move. I think
right.
that's the direction.
So, so we'll see.
Not to add any pressure or anything, you know.
Right. So that's what the next month and a half is going to be, I guess, figuring out.
Mm, making that decision.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be
So,
very interested to hear what your decision ends up being.
me too.
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. This was part 2. So don't forget to go and check out part 1, which is up on ScareDad's channel right now. And we hope you had a great Halloween, and we will see you in the next one. Continue to keep it spooky, guys. Bye.
All right, perfect.
There you
I gotta
go.
go get him ready because he's
Hi,
oh,
Saul.
there's Saul.
Hi, bud. How you doing? How are you?
Say hi.
Hello.
Hello. Getting ready for school?
I can't really
Uh,
hear him.
You can't. Oh yeah, you
You
can't hear
can't
him.
hear you. Oh, yeah, of
I got
course.
the
Yeah.
headphones on. He's like, I can't
Yeah.
really hear him. I'm like, oh yeah. So, all
Yeah.
right. Well, you got to say hi, and
You got to say hi.
we'll talk again soon.
We will. Keep me informed with everything you're up to, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
Same.
see you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Take care.
See you,
All
bud.
right.
Bye, mate.
Bye.
Bye.